to ignite. Conserve the culture, keep it real, keep it tight. Michaelah Montgomery, bringing it raw. Rank too high, we lay it down the law. Vote Trump 24.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
Truth, not feelings, that's what it do. Conserve the culture, we ain't backing down. We speak the truth, wear it like a crown. Vibe with us now, hear the revolution. Truth, not feelings, real evolution. Podcast loud with the message so clear. We break the news, they gon' hear us here. Rents high, stress rise, we keep it cool. Loving our voice, breaking all the rules. Michaelah, leading with strength, we inspire. Truth ignites like a blazing fire. No compromise, we stand our ground. Kamala's fiction, getting all unwound. Stay true to the culture, let's elevate. Facts over feelings, a truth serenade. Join us on this ride, together strong. Conserve the culture, rage on.
This marks the potential start of a third world war, where we will be hit with a silent, untraceable attack on America that unfortunately very few will see coming. This attack will be unlike any we have seen before, the one that directly targets our power grid, which will cause a nationwide blackout and plunge our great nation into darkness, despair, and starvation. I know some patriots have been preparing for this eventuality, but stockpiling and growing your own food is simply not enough, because this This marks the potential start of a third world war, where we will be hit with a silent, untraceable attack on America that unfortunately very few will see coming. This attack will be unlike any we have seen before, the one that directly targets our power grid, which will cause a nationwide blackout and plunge our great nation into darkness, despair, and starvation. I know some patriots have been preparing for this eventuality, but stockpiling and growing your own food is simply not enough, because this marks just the first phase of this orchestrated attack on America. And with Sleepy Joe and his team of incompetents at the helm, people will soon realize no one is coming to save them. Then it will be every man for himself. The looting will begin. Supermarkets will be ransacked. Local gangs and marauders will target anyone who looks like easy pickings. And by the end of the first week, millions of unprepared, desperate, and hungry Americans will be eating from garbage cans, if they're lucky. And that's exactly what our enemies want, to destroy our great nation from the inside. But the reality is, you do not have to be a victim. There is something you can do to prepare. Hi, my name is Teddy Daniels. I am a United States war hero, a White House insider, and a Purple Heart recipient. And I just released an emergency broadcast that reveals the one thing you must do in the first hour of the attack. That will guarantee you will have a power supply for you and your family. These 3 secrets will give you peace of mind and unlimited power during this critical time. By seeing this right now makes you one of the lucky ones. Because when the attack happens, most Americans will have no idea what hit them, but not you. You'll be in complete control, and that puts a lot of power in your hands. Yes, others may laugh when they see you quietly preparing for this imminent attack, but once our power grid fails, those woke millennials won't be laughing anymore. They will be wishing they had prepared, while you and your family prosper and thrive. But you need to move fast. I have it on good authority. This attack could start as soon as...
So, already recently discussed the issue has greatly affected the Black community here. The community that exists here is 96% Blacks, have poured into the city. They're taking up they're fixing up abandoned buildings, abandoned schools, to provide shelters for these people. They're giving them monthly stipends. They're getting food stamps, and they're still standing in line for free groceries, taking away resources from, the community. Exactly, the community that is 96% Black. Let me reiterate that. So earlier we were walking and talking, and they're in here taking everybody's jobs. They're in here taking all the money. They're just flooding the city. Additionally, we touched on the gun issue here, and how the gangs are pushing a mandatory buyback program in which all of us are expected to surrender our guns. So, how do you feel about that as a Black man? Because the Black women have already agreed that we enjoy having our guns. I'm not coming to my guns.
It's not, because at this point, it's almost like a damn if you do, damn if you don't. We don't trust the police.
There's a lot of surrendering our guns
because the police here aren't doing the best job that they can within the community. But also, somebody is like
Chuck was explaining to me yesterday that the relationship with the police in this community specifically is actually really good. Can you actually
who wants to live with the notion that they can shot somebody? Who want to live?
Chuck was explaining to me yesterday that the relationship with the police in this community specifically is actually really good. Can you actually expand more on that?
Totally different. I can definitely say that the police situation with the police on 75th is definitely different. When we come out from work or when we're just out partying, the police, they don't just hop out with guns. They don't just jump out and say freeze. No, they hop out and dance, actually.
The way it should be.
Yeah, they hop out, they meet people, they greet people. Hey, I live over here, I live right there. My son, this is my son. They actually downtown Chicago on 75th, yeah, in between State, all the way to Stony Island. That is the black downtown Chicago. The police know everybody around here, so we never have problems where police jump out and miscommunicate or can't identify somebody because they know everybody already.
That's the way it should be. So
They know everybody.
imagine if it was like that in every neighborhood. If it was like that in every neighborhood, our whole party would get on my room. But that's not the story. Like, that ain't the story. It for sure ain't the story. It for sure, it's for sure not. That's definitely not the scenario in Harlem. Y'all, we not gonna hone in. We gonna say the entire state of Illinois.
You want to straight up?
I wouldn't hesitate. I'd get it.
Do you want to
But
straight
that's
up?
not the story. Like,
Okay.
it's almost like you have to be mindful of what area you're in. Me, I'm okay. I can have a civil conversation. Trust me when I say I'm gonna do everything I'm told to prevent, because I don't want no problem. I feel like when you get a police a hard time, you come to their job and get them a hard time. I'm not gonna give nobody a hard time because I don't want them to come to my job and give me a hard time. So how do we get to a point where all the police, no matter where you go, are like that? How do we get to that point?
We encourage more people to be police officers and start screaming at the police F12.
So how do we get to a point where all the police, no matter where you go, are like that? How do we get to that point?
We encourage more people to be police officers and start screaming F the police F12. Stitches get stitches.
But that comes with proper training. So let's start with properly educating and properly training our police so that we can get
that starts with us.
I don't disagree. I agree with you. What I'm saying is, how do we put plans in place so we can take the proper steps so that we can get to a point where we trust the police enough in every neighborhood?
You encourage more people to become police officers.
Yeah.
More people who grew up here, born and bred here, they already know the community, they're police officers, they already know who they're protecting. That's how you do it. You stop making police out to be the bad guy. We stop acting like police are not necessary. We stop going around saying that police do not do their jobs. If you genuinely feel like then tell everybody to go sign up for their local police department. Police should be celebrated as heroes, not looked at as villains.
Then they should be properly trained and educated so that they can be celebrated that way.
All right,
I don't say I'm not
more
so
people to
bad.
do it.
Like I said, like you just said, how the police on 75th is, I love that. I love to see it. I know a few cops that I think are the most amazing people walking.
Man.
But I also know some cops that I don't care what happened, I don't want to be in the same room with them because their intentions are pure. So let's properly train and properly educate our police officers, no matter who it is, because we can't stop bad cops from
We got to encourage more people to be officers, and then of course we would have better training because they would have more resources allocated to them if our police force was to grow.
So let's come up with a situation and a plan so that can happen.
With that being said, though, how is violence so rampant here?
Because
what is the Democratic answer to police?
There is that's not just a Democratic issue. That's
crime was actually only mentioned 8 times at the DNC this weekend.
So again, how do we get to a point where
everybody had a joke to make about Trump? Everybody had a direct message for Trump. Crime was mentioned 8 times.
And see, we wouldn't know that. Were you at the convention?
Nope.
Were you at the convention?
It was streamed live.
Me and you had the pleasure. Me and you had the pleasure of being there, and I had the pleasure of being there because of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, everybody don't have that luxury. So let's figure out how to educate our community. Let's figure out how.
But again, if I'm asking, what is their answer to crime? They run your city right now. So how do you feel like crime is being handled?
I feel like the community is.
Do you feel like it's a priority?
I mean, crime is high. You know, this Chicago. So I mean.
But why is that the norm? Why is that okay?
Because
why should y'all be okay with that?
It's not. It's not okay.
We're not okay with it. It's just happening, and
it's happening.
And again, that's why I was honing in on our youth
There's so many young kids.
Because all I want our life is come from
that's not properly raised or properly loved. So all they know is outside. They know the people that they're around all the time. It's just like a job. You work a job more than you at home. So who know you more? The job know you more than your house.
And it goes back. And it goes back to enslavement. Half of the black men are locked up anyway, so they can't even teach the people that are committing the crimes that this is not what they should be doing.
Because now it becomes survival. It's
locked up.
You locked up. And what you
They
doing
locked
is
up.
learn survival.
So now they have nobody to look up to but those guys who are out there when they walk into school, they selling drugs, they doing this. So those are the people, that they look up to, but maybe that's not what they want to do.
Just think about it. If parents had actually more time to spend with their kids, things would be better. But parents can't afford to be at
So
home.
let's talk about inflation.
They gotta work.
Let's talk about inflation. Do you guys think inflation was Trump's fault or Biden's fault? Because some people are saying that we're living in Trump's economy. But I would like to say that international relations have entered the chat. However, I understand that might not be something everybody understands. So just as you know, the average voter here in Chicago, do you guys feel like the economy, is better or worse?
I'll be honest. It's kind of in between because it wasn't great when Trump was in office, and it wasn't great when Biden. So it's been.
Y'all wasn't getting money under Trump.
We've been messed
I was
up.
spoken. Yes, I don't know about y'all.
We've been messed up, but
Like,
I can't say whenever we do have a Republican in office, it's not hard to get some money.
Wow.
It ain't hard to get no money when it's a Republican in office. When we got a Democrat in office, it's totally different. It's like we surviving off link cards, low income, Section 8. We depending on this shit because this is what they giving us. It's free. So they making you sign
Y'all
they making you sign up for it because it's right there in your face.
And it's so crazy because I say this all the time. The system is designed to keep us at a low because you didn't teach us financial literacy.
But when I said Section 8 was a crutch, people said I was being insensitive. So you guys agree that Section 8, yes, it's designed to encourage you to stay at a certain level, below a certain level. And it's like if you achieve anything greater than this, you work a job better than this, now you got to struggle like everybody else.
Because think about it like this, people so scared. Just think about it. It's doctors and lawyers getting on TV, not lawyers, but doctors, nurses getting on TV crying because they can't afford. They owe so much in debt, they're living from paycheck to paycheck. So those same people that's on Section 8, when they finally start making some money, they're scared to lose it because it's people out here that make 2-3 times more than what they did, and they just trying to survive.
Because that should not encourage them to take those resources away. Section 8 should not have a 3-year waiting list. You being scared is not my problem.
If you've never been hungry, you would never understand. Because you've been hungry.
I've been hungry. And then I'm like, dang, I don't like being hungry. I don't want to be hungry no more. So I'm going to go do some shit to make sure I'm not hungry again. In which case, now that I'm eating, let me make room for the next person to be able to grow in a space in which they can feed themselves as well. But if I stay in a space in which I'm like, ooh, I was hungry before, I'm going to just stay right here so I can get just enough. And now somebody who's struggling a little bit worse than you, somebody who got, a couple more kids than you, or somebody escaping a domestically violent relationship, or somebody who just suffered a major loss in the family and they lost everything, like that person can't get access to that resource because you are scared to do better. So, you should not be scared to struggle. Struggle encourages growth. And that being scared is why, and that's why certain people, no, Section 8 should not.
So how do you get it to a point? Because the answer is not to completely get rid of those.
No, but you should get 5 years on Section 8 and then you gotta go.
How
5 years you gotta go. Passing it down to your children.
Exactly, it's awareness. It's figuring out
how are you not aware of your surroundings after 5 years?
What I'm saying is,
what are you not aware of in 5 years?
What I'm saying is,
it'll take you 5 years to be like, you need 6 years to be like,
If we're gonna talk about education, we're gonna talk about all this.
It's gonna take you 5 years for you to realize your kid can't read.
And you're talking about the less education because I walk these streets. So if I did not have as much of awareness of other things outside of what I've seen, the only thing I'm doing is doing what I know.
Again,
what
so
I see.
this is why
if someone is coming into the
Section
community,
8 should not be able to be passed down because that's all your kid will see is you on Section 8. Hello? If you're talking about, their surroundings, this is what kids see as they grow up. Then them growing up on Section 8, and then you passing the Section 8 down to them only encourages them to stay within those surroundings. Hello? Which case, we don't need to get rid of Section 8, but 5 years and you're done.
So for somebody
5 years and you're done. There's no reason why there's a 3-year waiting list for people who are suffering, from medical emergencies, from people who have been in debilitating car accidents, motorcycle accidents. They losing limbs. They don't have the money like they used to. They deserve to have access to Section 8, but they don't because somebody else is scared to have to work a little bit harder to pay their rent. We all in here don't have Section 8. We are working hard to pay our rent. So what does the next person being scared have to do with me?
It's education, like she said, it's awareness. So how do we get to a point? So like you said, decapitated
5 years.
Do they still get 5 years? Do senior citizens
I
still
feel like
get 5 years?
if you're going to go with that proposal, then I think that there needs to be things in place to educate people on financial literacy.
Because
that should be a requirement. That should be a requirement to get it. But why is it not? And whose fault is that? The Democrats who don't want you to have financial literacy. A government big enough to give everything to you is also big enough to take everything away from you.
How do we
So
get to
after 5 years, why can't you stand on your own 2 feet? Then therefore, we all agree that Section 8 is a crutch, and it does not need to be a thing that is generationally passed down. That's what I heard.
I didn't know that Section 8 could be passed down.
Yes.
But again, what I'm saying to you is, how do we get to a point where they're educated enough to where they're not? Because
again,
when
you
we
make
gonna
these
start teaching
financial literacy. You
When
make
we gonna
that a
start?
requirement to get Section 8. We just said that.
But when is it going to start? What do we do? Like,
That's a great question. You should probably vote for somebody who would advocate for welfare reform, which is a Republican thing. Meanwhile, Democrats encourage.
where we can sit
The
down.
point is to point out that they're not doing.
Because all Democrats are saying we're gonna push welfare. Our Democrats are saying we're gonna push Section 8. Really? There's Republicans out here who saying we're gonna keep them on Section 8 so that they don't come
Where you see that at?
because we don't want them.
Where you see that at?
Because let's just be real. I've
Where you
had
see that at?
conversations with Republicans who say, oh, we don't mind y'all coming up, but we don't want y'all in our doors. Let's just be real.
I don't know
I
none of them that
heard
were
that,
like
and I'm
that
not
to
gonna
me.
say a name to who said it, but it was said out of their own mouth, like, yeah, we'll pay y'all enough, but we damn sure ain't gonna pay y'all enough to where y'all will be in our neighborhood. And guess what? It was one of a fellow party member who said it out of his own mouth that, you know, they be surprised and they be offended when they see people like him living in their neighborhood.
Okay, I can understand that Section 8.
Whoa.
Whoa. So the same elite white people who are on the other side live nowhere near these Section 8 apartments that they are abundantly giving to niggas. So I don't want to hear that.
So let's
I genuinely don't want to hear that.
And
And none of those white people even live adjacent. They don't live.
There's a bunch of people.
We didn't say that they were on it. We didn't say that they were on it. We didn't say that they were on it. She brought up, correct? That somebody said that they didn't want to pay somebody to live near them, correct? And I made it clear that these apartments that are being given to people are also nowhere near. So while maybe the Dems didn't say it out loud, they acted on it. They make sure that where you live is nowhere near them. So what is the difference? Would you rather have somebody who would tell you straight up to your face that they don't want you around you? Or would you rather have somebody smile in your face and pretend to like you and do everything they can behind your back to you?
That's my issue.
I'll wait.
You gotta listen. You gotta flip it this way. So what we're saying is, it's just as many white people on government assistance in Section 8, but we're
completely missing the
black
mark.
people.
We're literally completely missing the
What
mark.
we're saying to you is, how do we educate? Because we're still skipping over the fact.
Okay, we're actually asking the same question that was already answered. So how about we
we
go to
don't
the
care about who gets in office as long as they do some resources and educate our kids.
Again, we have ventured way off track because we already said that we would make these programs a requirement of welfare reform, in which case these people who are applying for these things would then get the education. So I don't understand why we keep asking the same question.
And that's what we're saying.
Why don't we go ahead and move
how
to
do
the
we
next
get that
topic?
information out there so that they understand that?
We
So they're ready for
we would encourage the candidate running to run on that issue. And we would tell them collectively, we have all these votes for you. You don't even need money. Votes are worth way more. I have all these votes for you because all these people want to see this. You bring it to a Republican, you bring it to a Democrat. that Democrats are not going to propose that because somebody's going to call them inhumane and inconsiderate and they're lacking compassion. So the Republican is going to tell you in a minute, no, this is exactly how we're going to fix this up so everybody get a chance to get a leg up. That's how you do it.
Exactly. So that's what we need.
But now we have to move forward because again, we're short on time.
We're not disagreeing with that.
Lastly,
what we're saying is,
Can I say this?
Yeah, we gotta move forward.
Can I say this too? The thing is that if you knew how to stand on your own 2 feet, the question is, would you?
In 5 years, you should know that.
But everybody don't have that luxury to learn that in 5 years. Even disabled people, they don't have all the resources that we have. Because if it was true, those homeless veterans that are
every instance is different. In which case you can apply, you would be able to
general statement.
Reform would be inclusive of a bunch of things, but people would have to advocate for it first. And the point of the conversation is that it does nothing for us right now, and it's being pushed and upheld by the same Dems in office right now. So if you guys would like to see something different, and you would like to see more of these spots open up for people who are struggling, for people who are in between jobs, for people who are going through life-changing situations, then we need welfare reform because the current system right now is put in place to keep us down. That was it.
And we agreed.
But okay, so we gotta move. Girl,
please, we have to move forward.
And we already said that with the welfare reform, we will make these classes, this information, all a part of these programs that will be a part of you being eligible for said assistance.
And we get that.
That's it, girl. Please.
How do we get into the neighborhood so they know to vote for that? We're actually having to get
the
some so they know to vote for that. I'm not saying I understand that. What I'm saying is you need to figure out how to get to your platform so that you know to get out and vote for that Republican so they can do that.
So it would be on that. It would be on that Republican then to invest a lot of money into their outreach programs, going door to door, going to the senior citizen homes, going to community events, and pushing that message. It always falls back on the candidate. Everybody has a personal responsibility to make it happen. We as Black people here, though, are talking as how as a community we can make it happen. Because we can come together first and just deliver it to the candidate, and they can bring attention to it. So depending on the candidate to do it is where we're making a mistake. We have to come together first and make this problem visible to the candidate. But we also have something to stand on. We can't just be 4 Black people with a problem. We need to be 4,000 Black people ready to march to the polls if it means that this problem is going to be solved by said candidate. That's it. And that's how we do that. All right. So the last thing that I would like to talk about. That's the last thing that I would like to talk about here is, do you guys genuinely feel like the Black community has been prioritized by your local government?
We already said no to that.
We're not even just talking about people. We're talking about
and we've been said the mayor was full of shit.
Man, full of shit. I don't even know why they voted his ass in.
Exactly.
I ain't vote for his ass.
We're not disagreeing with anything we're saying. We're saying how do
Cam, you voted for his ass?
Get together and get with these kids and take these kids so that we can get to a point where we can vote for them to get that. I'm not saying what you're saying is incorrect. You're saying what they need to do. I'm saying how do we do that so we can get them there.
So now that we've agreed that Black people are not prioritized,
we were saying the same thing.
Do you guys feel like nationally Black people have been prioritized in the last 4 years? Do you guys feel like promises that change is coming from Black people if Kamala Harris is elected are valid?
I don't feel like the easy.
Where does the uncertainty lie? Where does your doubt stem from? Chuck, go ahead.
My doubt definitely stems from just voting Democrat my whole life. I don't care what nobody says. I've never seen anything other than Medicaid, low income, or Section 8 other when I vote Democrat. But I can honestly say that every time a Republican has been in office, I've seen a growth spurt of funds, jobs, First of all, jobs, period. You could be at home with a broke leg and they're going to have a job for you when they get in office. You're going to have a job from home. You can work from the computer and you're going to make thousands of dollars.
Exactly.
But when you are a Democrat, when you are in a Democratic state, your ass going to be willing yourself to the aid office. To the aid office. You're going to be in a wheelchair going to the aid office talking about you ain't got no fucking money. And that's just how I feel. That's just how it's always been, and that's
why I'm
the way that I
so big
feel.
on educating the youth.
Yes.
Because it's no way in hell we should be scared. Because let's just be real, we're scared.
Mm-hmm.
You scared, and you shouldn't be. Ain't no way in hell this should be all we know. That's scary. And like I said, I'm not disagreeing with them. I'm just saying how do we fix it? Because we can keep saying the Democrats is doing this, the Democrats is doing that. None of that shit is going to change if we don't figure out how we get the youth together to fix it. Let's fix it. I don't give a fuck who in office. As long as they're going to fix it. I don't care if it's Republican, Democratic. I'm going to vote for who's going to fix the problem. Across the board, I never disagree with what's what. What I'm saying is, how do we all, because all of us, because let's just be real, the president ain't going to fix it. Camilla ain't going to fix it, and Trump ain't going to fix it.
We know
How
that.
do we get to where we can fix it? Because fuck all that they talking about. If I felt like a Republican across the board could fix all the problems we have, I said I'll walk right behind you. If I felt like I could go sit in the room and have a conversation with Trump and he could give me a solution to fix every problem I had, I'm gonna sit there. You sitting there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about whether it's Republican or Democratic for me. All I want to say is how do we fix it? How do we? Because we is the one who got to make the change. How do we get together?
Well, the nature of the conversation, because again, whether you don't care if it's Democrat or Republican, we have to acknowledge the fact that 90% of Black people vote Democrat. So I'm here to point out what the Democrats are pushing here at this convention and how 3 streets over, clearly the community is not in agreement with whatever it is that they're saying. Nobody here wants to surrender their guns. That doesn't make anybody feel safer. It sounds like everybody agreed that we need better trained police officers and probably more police officers, newer ones who understand the community in which, they're protecting. Or therefore defunding the police is never something that we can go for. It also sounds like, all of you can agree that Black people were put last for the last 4 years. And therefore you kind of don't see how now them making promises to change your current status quo going into the next 4 years, if you were to elect Kamala Harris, is growing on you. So what I'd like to leave with is to understand who you guys, if you're comfortable telling me, who you guys plan to vote for and why.
I definitely plan on voting for Trump. This will be my first year voting outside of Democrat. And it's not just that I'm voting for Trump because he had all these money type of things going on in the neighborhood, but it's just because I understand where he's coming from, why he doesn't want people here, because I don't want their ass here either. So I'm voting Trump. I don't care.
All right, Ron.
I got to agree with Charles. I'm voting Trump.
And I'm being totally honest, I don't know who I'm voting for because it's hard because
that's how
the bottom line is I felt like let's just be real. Trump got in office the first time, and he gave out all this free money, but it was so much that happened in the process and so much violence. It's almost like you got to pick the lesser two evils. So you don't know who to vote for, and that's why
I don't understand how we have to decide on whether or not transitioning children is something we want to see as a federally protected right, or if we want to leave that up to people to handle when they're of age. That's what you're voting for if you vote Democrat. I don't understand why little boys playing in girls' sports is something we have to be okay with, because if a little boy wants to play sports with your daughter, guess what? And you say something wrong, they're going to kick your daughter out. And if you raise hell, they're going to kick y'all out the school. That should never be a thing. That's what people are, but that's what you're voting for. If you vote for Kamala Harris, you are voting to surrender your guns. You are voting to defund the police. You are voting to allow immigrants to continue to receive these lovely welcome packages that were never accessible to people who look like us. The point of the conversation was to highlight that they are 3 streets over, telling every Black person they know that these are good things and these are helping the community. Yet none of them are out here where I am with y'all actually talking to the community and asking them if this is what they want. And y'all told me earlier that y'all show up to the city council meetings, y'all show up to the commissioner meetings, y'all have talked to the mayor, and y'all tell them that you guys do not agree with these policies, and they still pass these laws.
Mayor Johnson.
They still put money in the budget, and they put everybody first, except for the people who have been living here, who are bred here, who own businesses here, who educate the children here, who provide goods here, all of that. So it's it was very peculiar to me. I took it upon myself to make sure I came out here and I just tried to understand, is this truly the sentiment? Is this really something that works? And let me go ahead at the DNC while everybody's here so I can hear for myself what they're saying. And then I will ask you guys, is it working? Because it's currently in place here right now. And everybody has agreed that it's not working.
It ain't working, Prisker.
Ben said that.
Prisker, it's not working. Mayor Johnson, it's not working. It's not working.
I just want to know, how do we get the community to understand? Because how we sitting here, because they wasn't, like you said, did you know anything that was on that convention?
No, I don't know.
They don't even know how to get, they don't even know what to look
Well,
for the convention. So how do we get them to the point where they know about it?
Final thought. All right. So after, you know, we had a conversation yesterday and today. We had a conversation yesterday and today, and we had a new experience. You know, that was your first time doing something like that.
Yeah.
Your first convention as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, and then you and I just met, but everybody really, we all just, you know, there was no.
This is real life to
here.
me.
There was no.
This is real life engagement. You guys want to know?
Really just ran up on Chuck like, I'm gonna set up tomorrow. How you feel? I'm staying at her house. I'm like, come get on camera with me real quick. He had this phone down the street. I'm like, you want to come talk to me? And now look at us. So this is real life to me. This is real Black engagement. If you guys want to know how to help the Black community, you actually have to go into the Black community. You have to speak to the Black community. You have to get their feedback on the current policies and ask them what they would like you to do to fix it. And so, you know, Republicans always look at me like, what's the answer? What's the answer? This is how you get the answer. And Democrats act like they know the answers. They do know the answers. They know everything that's wrong with what they're doing. But we're not making enough noise. And so I'm glad we had the conversation. Like, even though we kept asking why, it is important that we keep emphasizing that it starts with us. It starts with us. We, you know, everybody who sits in your chair, everybody who comes to your store, every PTA meeting you have, you guys discuss, hey, you know, and this is important. You know, we got to make sure we vote because things like this wouldn't happen. We didn't have these issues 4 years ago. And if you felt like we had those issues 4 years ago, then you say, hey, this issue is getting better. But at the end of the day, we need to be having these conversations. We need to rally up behind common causes. Everybody's talking about Project 2025. And like I told y'all, that was just a group of motherfuckers who had a lot of money. And they said, look, we're going to put all this support and money behind you, and this is what we would like to see if we were to vote you in. Here's a list of recommendations. It's not an official agenda. He never endorsed it. But yes, some people he knows that's what they wanted to see. Does that mean it's going to happen? No.
Nope.
But conservatives are conservatives. You can't control how far right somebody leans, just like I can't control how far left somebody leans. Because a woman might be okay with having the right to access abortion. She might want you to be able to get an abortion. But she might not think that getting an abortion at 8.5 months is okay. So you can't control how far right or how far left somebody leans. In which case, we should apply that same energy to P2025. Whether he know him or not, he can't control how far left or right his friends may lean. So now that we've already, you know, discussed that, we all just met each other. This is a conversation that, you know, we just decided to have because I really wanted to see for myself. Because I don't speak on nothing I don't know. I see for myself before I get on TV and I talk about it. So I'm really, first of all, let me go ahead before we close and tell y'all thank you for having this conversation. Thank you for welcoming me in your shop, in your home, in your space, you know. So you guys' final thoughts. Leaving here, what would you guys, I guess, like to see moving forward?
Moving forward, the most important thing that I can say is I do want to see when people say that they're going to grant, when Trump says he's going to grant immunity, don't think that he's granting immunity to bullshit. He's not. So I do want people to believe that they can believe in the police because we do have good police. We do have good police. Mm-hmm. Like I said, in the Chatham neighborhood, we got the best police district ever. They get out, they dance with us while we clubbing, they hang with us. And I feel like that's the start to a lot of gun violence. It's going to stop gun violence because when you know everybody in the neighborhood, over with. You know what I'm saying?
What would you like to see moving forward?
There's more opportunities for
and lastly, moving forward,
we here to ignite. Conserve the culture, keep it real, keep it tight. Michaelah Montgomery,
Thank y'all for
bring
tuning in,
it
kicking in.
break through, how we lay it down the law.
All right, y'all, prepare your
This
focus.
is Bryson Gray, and you are
Thank y'all.
watching the Patriots
And for my
Prayer.
Instagram,
Prayer Network.
I apologize that my phone died earlier. I know for those of you who got to tune into that, it was great. I did have some folks recording, so we should have some good stuff to go for y'all later. But yeah, this is real Chicago, y'all. So this is proof that when we said the Dems are lying, I'm not just talking out my ass. But thank you for coming. Yeah, we gotta go ahead and wrap this up. I actually have to the airport because exciting news. I am speaking with Big T tomorrow in Las Vegas. So if you're still here, yeah, y'all got the exclusive. You heard it here first. So yeah, I gotta go catch a flight to Atlanta and then go back to Vegas. So y'all back tomorrow morning. So I will catch y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for the support. And yeah, I look forward to